In this video, I would explain to you how my students like Ansel and Rubab were able to get headhunted because of their branding as complete beginners in under 40 days and how you can do it for yourself. And I would be breaking it down step by step for you. So the way we're going to go about this is super simple. Let me just choose a color that is different than every other color that we've used. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to be breaking this down into three different stages. Number one is going to be the platform selection and the foundation of branding. Number two is creating a format that actually sells you as a sales rep. And then finally, we're going to be talking about feeding the dragon. Now, going down to talk about the first one, stage one, which is foundation and the platform. Now, the first thing that you got to do as a sales rep, doesn't matter if you're a phone setter, DM setter, closer, doesn't matter, is figuring out the reasoning for branding. For a lot of you, it might be landing your first offer. For some of you, it might be to basically connect with other high-level reps. For some of you, it might be opening doors to better offers. In easy words, let's say you are at point A and you want to go to point B. Now, the point B is always going to be a level ahead of where you're at as of right now. So in easy words, you just want to improve or get better. That is the entire goal of doing anything in lines with branding. Now, for the sake of this example, let's say that this is you, a complete beginner that is joining the space, part of a coaching program, doesn't matter, and your goal is to get a 5K a month DM setting role, phone setting role, doesn't matter again, but your goal is to find your first role through your branding. Now, you got to realize for you to find a 5K a month role, it's definitely going to happen with a company that's already doing anywhere between 70 to 100K a month. Now, you might have what it takes in terms of, let me write this down, in terms of skills. You might be a good phone setter, DM setter, doesn't matter, but you are branding yourself as a complete beginner by doing things such as day 17 of becoming a 10K a month closer or DM setter. I learned X, Y, and Z from my coach last week. Posting your networking calls with your screenshot, which is the gayest thing that you can do when it comes to branding. Again, you're looking to get hired by a top 1% offer in terms of a company that's doing 70 to 100K a month so you can make good money, but you are framing yourself as a complete beginner. So the question then changes and becomes, why should a company that's doing 100K a month hire someone that's clearly a beginner? Because a lot of risk is involved. What if they hire you and you don't perform? What if you lose them money? Because if you're not making them money, you're definitely losing them money because they're running ads, organic traffic, all that cool stuff. So again, a lot of risk involved. Which means you might actually be good at setting. Again, you might have what it takes. You might be better than most of the people that they hire, but they simply won't hire you because, again, you're framing yourself as a beginner. So I just wanted to kind of go over that in terms of the reasoning for branding and what you're doing wrong as of right now. Now let's move to the next one, which is the platform selection when it comes to branding yourself as a sales rep. Now, what I want to clarify is every single platform works. What I mean by that is IG works, LinkedIn works, Twitter works, for all that matters, OnlyFans works. All the platforms work. The question is, which one of them works the best? And as someone that's been in the sales space for 6 years and I've generated like over 15 million, it's Facebook. It doesn't matter what stage you're at, it's always going to be Facebook for you. And I'll explain to you why the best way to go about this and the best platform to brand yourself with is Facebook. Now, you got to remember that I myself, Yunus, I've been creating content for almost 3 years and I'm still not the best at it. What I mean by that is I still stutter, I still kind of mumble up some of my words. I'm not the most confident in front of a camera. Again, all of those issues I have till today, even after creating content for 3 years. Now, some of you might really be good at setting, but you're harming yourself by making reels. And what I mean by that is when you make reels, you're basically stuttering, incredibly bad camera angles, poor direction, weird lighting, and what's the result? You end up attracting low-tier offers or no offers at all. What I mean by low-ticket offers, I mean not proven, cold, and 1K a month OTE. Now, why are you attracting those offers? Again, some of you end up blaming the space. Oh, this space is fucked up, tons of scam, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, you're just framing yourself as a beginner, as a low-tier rep, even if you're good, just because you don't know how to be in front of a camera. And what happens is you attract a lot of those low tier offers because that's what you are in terms of branding. The reason Facebook is the best option is number one, the posts are text based, which means you don't need to make a reel, you don't need to speak in front of a camera, you don't need to record anything, you just sit down, make a post, bada bada boom. The second thing that you got to realize is all the top guys hang around on Facebook. Now, what I mean by top guys, to clarify, when I say top guys, I don't mean 20 years old that have made like 1 million most and that are like teaching other 20 years old on how to be good at sales. Because that is pussy behavior. Pussy behavior. Those are the funniest people ever to me. What I mean by top people, I mean people that are 30 to 60 years old, been in the sales space for 10 plus years, and making about 50K to 100K a month in commissions. I know that sounds insane, but the amount of people that are making that is freaking outrageous when you go into Facebook and you start connecting with those people. Now, the stage 2 is figuring out a format that sells when it comes to branding. And I'll take it step by step again so you understand everything and how you can replicate it for yourself. Number 1 is profile optimization. What I mean by that is number 1, you need a clear profile picture. If you don't know what to choose, you can go and check my profile picture on my Facebook. It's clear, close-up, smiley, good lighting. People can clearly see my face and trust me immediately. The next thing you need is good and clear bio. So in your bio, have your numbers, 100K collected, help a 6-figure coach scale to 8-figure, 7-figure, doesn't matter. Clarify what you are. And then you can talk about your past, which is for mortgage to high ticket sales, insurance to high ticket sales, barista to high ticket sales, doesn't matter about your past, or you can just be like open to connecting, whatever works with you better. The next thing you got to figure out is your actual cover picture. What you should go with, and this is going to be the most 80-year-old grandma advice, is nature. Go with nature. This could be a beach. This could be a, I don't know, mountains, sea, doesn't matter. Anything that's nature, right? The reason you want to go with that is, again, it just seems natural. You know, you're not overselling yourself, you're not being extreme, not too optimized. People love that shit. The fact that you're human, so have something nature related. Now, what to post? That is one of the biggest question that I get whenever someone joins our coaching, which is, Yunus, what can I make a post about? And the thing that I hate is most of you have learned to post wins, networking calls, and your learnings as a setter. That's what most of you have learned, to post your wins, networking calls, and learnings. And what I want you to realize, it doesn't matter what to post. Like, the idea truly doesn't matter. You can make a post about anything. What matters more is the actual positioning of that post. What I mean by that, let me explain. By the way, let me double down on this. What I mean by, like, it doesn't matter, the idea doesn't matter. What I mean by that is some of the posts that did really fucking good for me were like authentic. What I mean by that is, let's say I'm scrolling my phone and I came across this reel of like 2 different coaches that both have like million collected in total, and now they're coaching other people. If I come across a reel like that, what I'm gonna do is I just make a post on that and be like, yeah, I just saw 2 guys talking about fighting with each other with like 1 million cash collection, talking about who has the bigger dick. Right? Again, simple post. I've already made that one. Now, let's say I'm going and I see an offer that's talking about, oh, you got to work 14 hours a day and you extreme ownership, 7 days a week. And, you know, you got to do your own outbounds, bada boom. And the OTE is like 1K. I'll make a post on that. Like, bro, hire a fucking monkey, teach them appointment setting and have them do this, because this is not worth it. Like, the compensation is shit for the amount of work you're asking for, right? Again, so in terms of posting, bro, post about anything. The idea doesn't matter, right? Be authentic with it. What matters more is the positioning. What I mean by that is, let me give you some examples. So this is an example. Let's say the idea that you have is the fact you want to talk about the fact that for setters to perform good in any offer, they need to believe in the mission of the actual offer. Now, if that's what you want to make a post about, there are 2 ways you can go about it. Number 1, you can say, I learned something interesting this week from my coach. Number 2 is you can say, before you blame your setter, read this. Again, It's the same idea, but different positioning. Now you need to keep in mind that the results are going to be drastically different. Now why? Because this post calls out business owners, managers, and other high level reps. What you need to realize is for you to call someone out, you need to be a level above them or on the same level as them. So when you're calling someone out, automatically they would think that you have the authority. This, on the other hand, puts you as a beginner, still learning. By the way, no one gives a fuck that you've invested in yourself. The only thing people care about is if you can actually perform or not. So if you think, oh, if I show to people that I'm actually working with a coach, my likelihood of getting hired is going to be a lot more. Sorry to break it down to you, sweetheart, but no. You need to make the money, right? So again, this is, again, beginner's frame. It's only going to harm you, not benefit you. This is going to get you the highest level of offers. By the way, when I say harm you, I mean you're still going to get offers, but low tier offers, right? Hope that makes sense. Let me show you another example. Now, let's say you want to talk about your learning lessons, right? What I mean by that is you want to talk about the fact that 3 months ago when you started, you want to start off the post by saying, 3 months ago when I started, I used to think, na-na-na-na-na. Or you can just be like, earlier in my journey, and then start your post. Again, same idea, but different positioning. When you say earlier in my journey, people would assume that you've been here for 6, 12, 24, 36 months, right? It's an open timeline. There's no timeline. When you say this, it's like, beginner, right? So again, same shit, but different positioning, same idea, different positioning. By the way, this was the post that Umer Rubab did that got like 4 different offers, right? So keep that in mind and know that this works. So what have we discussed so far? We've discussed what you're doing wrong and shit. You pay like multiple four figures to learn that what you're doing right now is wrong. I know it breaks your heart, but that is the case. That is the reality. Shit. Ramadan is hitting me. Okay, the next thing that we discuss is platform selection. The third one we discuss is profile optimization. The fourth one, what to post. And number 5 is how to position it. Now, I want to talk about something interesting, which is feeding the dragon. Now, what I mean by that is you need to try a lot of different formats when it comes to posting. Yunus, what do you mean by that? Is go with small written post, go with lengthier written post, go with post with your pictures, go with posts that ask questions to get the engagement, make frustrated posts talking about how shit something is. It has to be shit, by the way, for you to call it shit. Again, try a lot of different formats to see what actually worked. What I mean by that is just go and check how many people engaged with that post, and if majority of them were managers, business owners, and high-level reps, because that is going to give you the highest ROI. And if you find a post that has like 70% of that, guess what you should do? Double down on that, aka feeding the dragon. You figure out the dragon, which is, okay, let's say this format works. You're just going to feed the dragon, which is double downing, like 3x to 4x the output. And you're going to 3x to 4x your results. Okay, very cool. So that was the entire session on how do you actually make the most out of your branding, which is incredibly detailed. I gave you a lot, so go back and watch it again if you have to. Take a lot of notes because, again, this is going to change your entire life. A few pointers that I do want to talk about, beautiful people, is number 1, as you are posting, make sure you're adding people. And only the quality reps, by the way. Adding reps, business owners, and managers, right? Number 2 is do not overthink and just do the thing, because you're going to collect enough data to figure out what's working or what's not. In easier words, a lot of people would think first, then they would take the first step, which is a weird way of doing things, because again, the only way for you to think is if you have enough data. Right? Because if you take like 30 days to think about your first post, guess what? Your first post is definitely not going to perform because it's your first fucking post. That makes sense to sit there and spend time on that. So what you should do is make the first post, do it continuously for like 2-3 weeks, collect the data, then think, and then improve whatever it can improve. And number 3, make shit happen. Because you have everything you need to build a successful brand and get results like our students.